When I was 21 years old, I was going to school at Ohio State. I had bounced around to four different campuses, three different colleges. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was going for a finance degree. Didn't like all the extra crap that you had to take. Didn't really see myself sitting in an office. I've always wanted to have my own business. Even when I was in high school, I would save my money, go to the bank, and get a cashier's check so my parents would know what I was doing. Order courses. Don Lapre, if anybody's old enough to remember that, tiny little ads. I think he was the first one I bought. I remember buying a course on how to open up a automotive detailing shop. I never did that, but I did buy a course on it. I was always interested in courses and teaching how to run your own business. So I did all that before I got out of high school. So when I was in college, I still had that drive in me that wanted to become an entrepreneur. Didn't even know what that word meant back then, but I just wanted to run my own business. Basically, I didn't want a freaking boss. I still don't like being bossed around. Didn't want a 9 to 5. Didn't want to sit in traffic in the commute. So I was going to college. I was doing a whole lot of partying. So I would bounce around from college to college. And my roommates and I had a ski boat. We loved to water ski and we loved lake life and hanging out. And actually, that boat didn't run all the time correctly. So one time we took it in to get it fixed. And after a few times of taking it to different places, it still didn't run right. And it was something that was, you put it in gear and it would stall. So I even had one boat place come after they fixed it. We drove it 45 minutes away, put it in the lake. It still did the exact same thing. We drove it 45 minutes back, and the guy laughed at us and accused us of making it so it didn't run to make him look bad. So I don't know how ridiculous you think that is, but we were kind of flabbergasted. So back in that time, in the early 90s, we used to watch a lot of ESPN on Saturdays. It was the ESPN Outdoors. And I would sit there and dream of fishing at Walker's Cay, going to the Bahamas and fishing. I like saltwater fishing. Never really got into the freshwater fish because I've been saltwater fishing so much. Just dreaming about that life and watching their shows. There was always a commercial for the boat mechanic school. And I thought, I've always been pretty good at with my hands. I like building stuff and doing things, but I really wasn't that mechanical. But I made the call, got some things figured out, and ended up leaving my girlfriend at home. She encouraged me, actually Angie, who is now currently my wife. She said, just go, do this thing. And I moved down there for 9 months, learned how to be a mechanic, all with the idea of wanting to open up my boat shop. So I figured boats and sunshine all summer, hot chicks in the bikinis hanging out on my boat. So I ended up doing that. We ended up going and finishing boat school. Then I went to work for a company in Columbus, Ohio. There's several boats, not a lot, but it was close to home. And during that time I got married, and the whole idea of starting there was, to learn and get the basics down. And they were going to, they started off paying me peanuts, and they said, that's just for the first few months. If you stick around, do what you're supposed to do, work hard, blah, 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 all the stuff bosses tell you, then we're going to pay you a lot more money and, you'll be happy. So I get through that review process. Everything's great. Worked my butt off. They're super happy. And bam, they gave me that 25 cents an hour raise. So it was perfect because that forced me to do what I set out to do and start my own business. So it just so happens I met a service manager there that came in, and we ended up being 50-50 partners and said, let's start a business. So we started a boat shop. He was a lot older than me. I had a lot of experience. He had done it before, so it was perfect. But as you know, everybody should, I'm sure everybody's heard that partnerships suck. I think everybody should try it once just to see how much it sucks. So it wasn't terrible. He was a good guy and all, but I was the employee. Basically, he was a lot older than me with the experience, so I was the grunt, and I did all the grunt work. And we did that for about 3 years. Everything was going fine. We were growing. Weren't making a ton of money, but it was happy. I found out really quick that when you own a boat business, you never get to boat. Everybody knew where you were. When I would go to the lake, they would say, they'd give me a call and come and find me because their boat wasn't running right. So eventually it made me stop going to the lake. But after 3 years, I went and said, hey, my family, my wife's family is all going to Disney World and we're going to go. And he said, no, you're not. You can't go on vacation. Granted, he's been on vacation. So it was before we were really busy in the spring, but it was one of those things where he said, no, you're not going. And I said, bullshit, yes, I am. And I went home that night, sat down with Angie, and I said, we need to figure something out because I'm not staying much longer. During that time of starting that business, we had bought a house, we had had a baby, and we were strapped. We weren't doing real great. We were young. And when we had our first kid, Angie said, I don't want to go back to work. I want to stay and raise my son, which is exactly what I wanted to help her do. But I said, you're going to have to do something because money is pretty tight. So we bought a computer, and this was in about 1995, 96 is when we first bought that computer, with the idea of she had a graphic background, she was an artist, and she wanted to learn how to create brochures and start a business. Well, then I bought her a package. It was called Corel Draw, or Corel, and it had a website design package. So she sat down there and figured out how to make websites. And within a year of that originally happening, this is, later on is when the vacation thing came up, and my gut instinct told me it was time to get out. And we sat there and we said, she had told me I can only do what I'm doing now. I can't do any more. So I said, it's time to jump. So basically paid my partner to take my half of the business. It wasn't worth much. It was all work. It was a job. It wasn't a real business. But I essentially took over a truck payment to leave. I just said, I'm out of here, and I left. And talk about both feet, shitting bricks. We were rolling, but that's what we did. We started it, and since then we've developed into website design and then a lot of digital marketing. It's become internet marketing, which website technically falls under. So we help local businesses grow by getting them more leads and business and more business. So that's what we do now. That's how we got here. That's how I got here. It's been a long haul. I want to help other local businesses, other people, get a little bit of freedom from their bosses and not have to do that. Be able to take vacations when you want. So, we're not on vacation all the time. We're able to, but we don't. We chose to stay home, raise our kids. We've got one left in high school, so the reins are loosening a little bit. We're getting a little bit more time. And all these times when everybody said, you guys are so lucky. Well, we always thought you're so lucky when you get 2 weeks paid vacation. Even when we're on vacation, we were always still working. So that's how we ended up where we are. 22 years experience. We're willing to share that with local people that want to grow local businesses. So if you're interested in that, we have a local group or a Facebook group. I'm saying local a lot. I don't know why. It's called Flip Flop Tribe. FlipFlopTribe.com. We like flipping the status quo on its head. We like living in flip-flops. We like living the flip-flop lifestyle. So if that's something you're interested in too, looking for something to earn a little extra cash, we want to show you how to do it. So inside that free group, we teach a lot of stuff, and I think you should jump in and check it out. So as I said, my name's Pat Cherubini. We run the Cherubini Company, and I look forward to getting to know you inside the tribe. Later, beaches.